Most students think studying longer is the secret to getting better grades, but they're dead wrong. Harvard students aren't pulling all-nighters. They're doing something completely different, and it's changing everything. The top performers at the world's most elite university cracked a code that most people never even hear about. What if everything your teachers told you about studying was actually holding you back from real success? Right now, somewhere on Harvard's campus, a student is acing every exam without touching a textbook for hours. This isn't about being smarter, having a photographic memory, or even being naturally gifted at school. It's about a powerful system, a set of habits so effective they almost feel like cheating. Scientists who study learning have discovered that effort alone is one of the weakest predictors of academic success. Your brain doesn't care how many hours you sit at a desk. It cares about how you engage with information. Passive studying, rereading notes, and highlighting textbooks are three of the biggest wastes of your study time. Harvard students know something called the testing effect, and it rewires how their brain stores information permanently. Instead of reading a chapter 5 times, they close the book and try to recall everything from memory. That's the move. Every single time you struggle to remember something, your brain builds a stronger, faster neural pathway to that memory. The discomfort you feel when you can't remember an answer is actually your brain getting stronger in real time. Flashcards, practice tests, and self-quizzing aren't just study tools. They're literal brain training machines backed by neuroscience. A landmark study found that students who used retrieval practice scored a full grade higher than those who simply reread material. Harvard students treat every study session like a performance, not a passive information dump into their overwhelmed brains. They ask themselves one powerful question before every session. What do I actually need to be able to do with this? That question shifts everything, from memorizing facts to building real, flexible, usable knowledge that sticks for years. Most students study in one long, exhausting block, but Harvard students break their sessions into short, powerful bursts. This technique is called spaced repetition, and it exploits a glitch in human memory that most people don't know exists. Your brain forgets on a predictable schedule, and if you review material right before you forget it, retention skyrockets. Apps like Anki and Quizlet use spaced repetition algorithms to show you exactly what to review and exactly when to review it. 10 focused minutes using spaced repetition will beat 2 hours of passive rereading almost every single time. Harvard students also understand something called interleaving, mixing different subjects or topics in a single study session. It feels messy and uncomfortable, but that mental friction is exactly what forces your brain to think more deeply. When you switch between math, history, and biology in one session, your brain works harder to organize and connect the ideas. That connection building is called elaborative interrogation, and it turns surface-level facts into deep, lasting understanding. Ask yourself why something is true, how it connects to something else, and what would happen if it were different. These aren't fancy questions. They're the exact questions Harvard students use to turn confusion into crystal clear comprehension. One Harvard graduate described her study method as building a web, not a list. Every idea connected to every other idea. Your brain is a pattern recognition machine, and the more patterns you feed it, the faster and smarter it processes new information. Harvard students also use something called the Feynman technique, named after one of the greatest physicists who ever lived. You pick a concept, close all your notes, and explain it out loud in the simplest possible language, like you're teaching a 5-year-old. The moment you hit a gap in your explanation, you found exactly where your understanding is weak and where you need to focus. This technique turns vague feelings of understanding into real, tested, bulletproof knowledge you can use under exam pressure. Most students feel like they understand something just because it sounds familiar. Harvard students know that feeling is a dangerous trap. Familiarity is not understanding, and that gap between the two is exactly where most test scores go to die. Harvard students ruthlessly eliminate passive study habits and replace them with active, effortful, brain-engaging strategies every single session. They also know that where you study matters almost as much as how you study, according to multiple brain science studies. Studying in the same spot every day actually trains your brain to associate that environment with focus and deep thinking. But Harvard researchers also found that occasionally changing your study location can boost memory recall by giving context to the information.